your health needs to be priority number one. Health, family, work. The 56-year-old me, dude, it's going to be amazing. See, I'm so happy that God has given me health today. But the other big piece is,
what if putting your business first is actually holding you back? Every day, leaders sacrifice their health chasing success, but the trade-off can be costing you more than they realize. Today's guest, Mark Samuel, discovered the truth early and built multiple successful companies while making health his top priority. Welcome to the Learn It All podcast, the show for today's leaders who want to get ahead and stay ahead, because we believe great leaders aren't born or made, they're constantly in the making. I'm your host, Damon Lemby, two-time best-selling author and CEO of Learn It, a live learning platform that has helped upskill over 2 million people over the past 3 decades. Today, Mark and I will be discussing how business leaders can achieve sustainable success by putting their physical and mental well-being first. I'll be asking Mark to share his thoughts on the importance of building discipline over relying on motivation, his ability to lead with authenticity despite mental health challenges, and creating a meaningful business relationship through constant content creation. Why do so many leaders wait until it's too late, whether they're burned out or even worse, before they decide to do anything about it?
yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question, right? Um, I think that we have been very consistent with that theme to show that we do not focus on our health. We do not make it a priority. We don't do the multitude of things that we should be doing. Um, for in my opinion, for what I would deem as excuses that we make. Um, and it does become too late to try to turn back time. And so I don't like to minimize it, but I think we just make as humans we make a lot of excuses, and I think that's really the culprit.
And so when did you personally realize that you need to make personal, physical and mental health like a core value of yours?
Yeah, my journeys, I guess, is unique, but it all just stemmed from I guess being lucky in some way. I at a young age found the weight room and I enjoyed it. I mean, it's just one of those things. I totally understand the sentiment of folks who find a gym or they start looking at becoming healthier and they need to exercise and they come back with the, I'm not enjoying it. I don't like it. It feels like a task. But I was lucky. I found the weight room and I enjoyed everything about it. I also was enjoying the other aspects of health as far as nutrition and coupling those things together, and then seeing the results of it. And I think the latter piece is an important piece to point out because I was seeing the results of it. It was providing me sort of sort of a roadmap of, if I continue on this journey, I will look and feel a certain way. And I really wanted to have that look and feel.
What advice do you have for somebody to just, where do you get started to maybe ease your way into it?
Yeah. Well, I always differentiate the two words that get thrown out a lot, which is discipline, right? Versus motivation. Discipline versus motivation. A lot of people think that motivation is what's going to get them up, out, and into a gym or up, out, and onto a street.
a mistake that you've made that our listeners can learn from?
I've left a couple businesses probably too early. Like, actually, I don't even mind you saying it. Like, we had a business, it was consumer facing. I won't say which one, but people can figure it out. And there was another founder involved. So it's like, there's two of us, and then maybe there was a third, and you know, and we had something. Like, I want to say we had something that eventually they went on after I had left after a couple years. They went on and built it to some level of success, but I think it could have been 10x if so two pieces to it. One is if I knew what I knew now as far as how to scale quickly and go and capture more market share. So that's one of those things that it's all good. I didn't know what I know now type of thing. But the more important piece is sort of walking away because I was immature, and I felt like I felt like I needed to be in the driver's seat, as sole driver. Even I didn't mind having a co-founder, whatever it may be, but just like I didn't have the maturity to deal with any sort of, I wouldn't even call it conflict because I was the one creating the conflict in hindsight, right? But just having the ability to communicate well and understand that sometimes it's better to have a few folks in the room than all right, I can't do this. I'm just gonna go and do something else on my own. So that's what I'd leave you with. I just leaving early a couple different times because of my own doing. And I'm okay to accept that now, like really in hindsight, recognizing where my faults were.
And so let's stick with the conflict. Like, give me an example of what you mean, like you were the one creating the conflict.
Because I was overthinking things. Um, I wasn't given the room the way that I wanted it. I didn't want to have like elements of decision making, like a actual like theme there where it's like, wait, do we both have to agree on something? And to me, that's why I describe it as that. That's my problem. It's funny, and you'll understand the sentiment. Sometimes I get people, these are buddies of mine or whatever now, we're all done our own thing, doing all types of thing. And they'll be like, yeah, so this is what happened. And it is, I'll be like, yeah, but that's your problem, dude. That you get it? That wasn't their problem. It's
Right.
you, dude. You're the asshole. You understand what I mean? And I say that with love, meaning it doesn't have to be all so hard pressed like that. But sometimes you just need to look at yourself and recognize maybe it's me, right?
Oh,
Maybe.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
so that's what I mean by that.
How do you get better at self-awareness? Because I'm like you, right? I see people and they're telling me situations, and it's always they're the victim, and they're not taking any accountability. And it's like, was it you in that situation where you finally woke up and said, "Look, I need to be more accountable and more self-aware of what's going on," or how can somebody go about learning that?
I don't know if you can learn it outside of actually going through it. It's the same thing about learning how to operate a business, learning how to start and sell a consumer product, learning how to start and sell a learn it, right? Services. I'm such a believer in the fact of having to go through it, mature through it, develop through it with real time and real action. It's why when somebody asks me that same question that they always ask everybody else in an interview, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Fucking nothing. Nothing. I wouldn't tell him anything. I would say, keep going, dude. Keep messing up over and over and over again because I wouldn't be able to tell you right now what it is that I just described from 10 years ago. And then the question would be like, so right now you're good? Like, would you do that over or would you be that sick? I don't know. I still don't know. I do know that I'm a lot more patient. And that comes from kids, you understand that. But there's a lot more things I think because of my experience that I could layer into any new um situation that happens now.
Now, do you think that that patience also comes from your workout routine and your nutrition and your health and fitness?
There's patience that's layered into wanting to develop your body, let's say. Like people are like, "Wow, you look like you have some like abs." I'm like, "Dude, you get it I want to get those." I'm like, I don't know if I can wait that long." I'm like, you get it. So patience, there's an element that I think that patience comes from things that I've experienced now, like having kids. I always say that. What's the one thing that you've actually developed just and put in your back pocket as an asset? Patience. When you have kids, you're like, oh my God, dude.
You talked about scaling quickly. What's some advice you can give for entrepreneurs or other business leaders out there who struggle with scaling?
It depends on the business. Um, I think there are some businesses that can scale quicker and they have less risk. Like my early businesses were service related and I loved those. Like we were making money day one. It was so nice, right? You have margin, you're just trading time for right. And I like that business. Most recently, I've been doing consumer products. It's totally different. You got people touching and the margin and distribution, and there's layers in this. And the I believe you just have to have patience and the ability to prepare yourself for building for a long time. Like even now, after snack company that I had, I was there for 8 years. Now I'm starting something new. I had to really wrap my head around the fact, like, whoa, I might be doing this for a long time. And it wouldn't matter if you're scaling quickly or not scaling quickly, especially in what it is that we do in food and beverage. It's just, it doesn't even matter. You could scale quickly compared to somebody else, the other thousand brands, but even them, you have to be prepared to be doing this for a very long time. So patience is sort of it's table stakes at this point.
Talk to us a little bit. What are you doing now?
I was brought on from a venture capital company called City Capital. They are a big player in the food and beverage and health and wellness space as far as investment. And I know the managing partners. I knew them from my experience being in the space. I always had a really good rapport with them. And it just so happens that there is a second piece to it, which I don't know if it's been disclosed yet or not, or it's going to be by the time it is what it is. There's this second piece to it, whereas there's an involvement with a bakery called Unbun. And the reason why they wanted me to come on is they wanted me to help operate this new business, which was prior to it was a distressed asset, but they were going to recharge it. And the Unbun business is and was a low carb bakery. They're out of London, Canada. They have low carb bread type products and tortillas and pizzas, but this brand new in basically rehaul and reposition of the brand is all going to be protein focused. So they're like, Mark, you're the protein guy. You're going to help operate this business. And so that's what we've been doing. So it's really a startup though. It's got a lot of work to do. A lot.
How important is it for somebody who's an entrepreneur, a leader, or just maybe an everyday individual contributor to start having a personal brand?
Yeah, I think it's wildly important. I'm not saying you have to because I know there'd be some folks who don't do it for the 90 reasons that that many don't. One of them is they just don't want to be out there like that. They don't want to create content. They don't want to put content out. Totally get that. I respect that. And I always will respect that. But you know, in today's age, especially in what we do, everything is about relationships. And so if you can build those relationships and more of them faster, I think it's just something that you should be doing. And that's what really that platform did for me. Like it's not just about having a following or whatever that may mean. It's all good. Like, to me, it allowed me to create relationships and meaningful ones with more people. And those relationships are really valuable. They're valuable on so many different levels, but I was just about to post actually. It's just people in the space at all types of levels. Some are new, some have been going, some are operating really big companies. And somewhere in the mix of all that, there are people that can provide you a lot of value. And hopefully you can provide them value, because that's the latter is as important. And so the former piece though is they can help you in many different ways. And I just think that, as the journey continues, you're going to need to call on those pieces, to be able to get you into different opportunities.
You talked about building meaningful relationships over LinkedIn. Can you give us an example of how to do that?
I think that happens from you attracting people through the content. That's where there's certain pieces of your personal life and or your personal position on things comes through. Like for me, I mean, again, without getting political or whatever it may, I think people kind of they get this sense like, I think that guy thinks this way or that way. Like I've always tried to keep it in the middle because I talk about love and let's all love one another, right? At the same time, I'll kind of nudge a certain way because I like to joke around and stuff. But even that, right? So even those few pieces, it allows you to attract other people who probably think like you, and I think that's how relationships start. It's the same thing as if you're dating a woman, right? Or you meeting somebody, like you start talking about things that are interesting to each of you, and then you see, there's a match there. Like that's what relationships are. And um and if you're really good at it, again, you never offended somebody in such a way that you like literally turned somebody off. Like that's very important to me. And so that's where I'd say is they start developing relationships because they hear more and more of things that they think and they think and see the world as. And then you eventually are offline with them, like I am. I've text messages going with how many people now, and this is just a good point though that you can run with. Is that I was going to post it. Like one of them, I needed something. Actually, I needed a few things right now. I have something going on and things, and I needed some advice. I was able to put like 5 people together, like this week, on something that I needed advice on. You understand where I'm going with that? Like
Yeah, I do.
these are people who I'm telling you don't have time for bullshit. You get it? And
Yeah.
on I could text and get a reply back and says, "Let me know like I'll open up something for you on Monday." That's what it is. And so there you go.
What I hear you saying is that if you're out there and you're giving value, right, and you're open to helping people, that when it comes time, and it all comes time that we need help, that you can reach out to people, and a lot of times people that you just can't get regular access to, who are willing to give back and to help you.
Agreed.
What's your approach to LinkedIn? Is it structured, off the cuff, or how do you go about it?
Yeah, this one I always enjoy talking about because there's no playbook, right? And I say that not just for me, but there is no playbook. Like do whatever feels comfortable for you, knowing that there are playbooks in place with many folks who are on there to generate connections and or impressions, right? And or followings and the like. Mine is so simple. It's to me the one that's the easiest to follow, which is for 6 years straight, I have written content every single day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 4 times a day. And I have never, ever pre-planned or pre-written any of it, ever. Now, there it's there's a piece to this to be careful of. That's good and bad. For me, I've been very lucky I think maybe there's been out of the thousands of pieces of content that I put up, there's probably been a few where maybe I've turned on or off somebody or whatever it may be, or I've gotten, little, I wouldn't call it backlash because again, because now people know me, they know where my heart is. But there's been a couple times where I'm like later that day or maybe the next day, I'm like, ooh, maybe that one was whatever. But this is my last piece to my discipline around it. I'm also not allowed to delete anything. So it's you get it? So no matter what, if I hit send, it's out. It's gone. It's never coming back. So there you go.
I love your no BS authentic approach, right? To life and leadership. You get to the point. How has that really helped you become more successful? And are there times where being that way has turned off people to the point where you've lost great opportunities?
I think it's both, without a doubt, right? And again, successful when people use that term, it's very subjective. I always talk about this too. I've had way more losses than wins, right? In my journey. But I'm so prepared for what is my journey looking like. Like like again, I'll close it out with the piece, then I'll get to it. I'm more excited about like what's happening in front of us right now. Like I turned 46 this year. The 56-year-old Mark is going to be a friggin' animal, dude. You know what I mean? Like, what is that guy? It's so God, please give me please let me get there, right? I always say that. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. But like, if I'm in good health, the 56-year-old me, dude, it's going to be amazing. I mean, I think, right? I'm optimistic. So anyway, it's a win because it provides me more opportunities. And it will, and I believe it will always, and I believe it will, that 56-year-old guy was talking about, I believe I'll get there and have something cool in front of me because I'm going to continue to go that route. Without a doubt, in the same breath, I have turned off some people and or some opportunities, many of which I probably don't even know about, right? Because even me, I still look at my face in the mirror sometimes. You know what I mean? With the you don't like this face, okay? I get it. You don't want to like this face. I don't like this face sometimes either. So what can you do about that? You can't. You just hope that at least that the one that turned it off or didn't like you for some reason, maybe later on they realize, you know what? That guy wasn't so bad. Bad face, yes. But you know what? He's got a good heart. Like that's what you hope. So there's my answer.
If I do the math correct, the 56-year-old Mark will have a kid graduating from high school at about 17, 18 years old. And, we've known each other for a long time and things have changed. But before we came on there, we were talking about how wonderful it is to be parents. How has becoming a father really changed your perspective on life, or maybe even, let's say, given you more drive or passion to create a great life for your kids?
I believe my kids literally saved my life. I don't know if other fathers will understand this sentiment. I don't know. I say that because because of my own mental health and things that I have going on in my own body, right? Um, I I just know that there is no greater joy that I have. There is no greater joy that I experience. There is no happiness that is comparable to the things that occur that are related to my kids. And I mean by a mile, dude. And so when I get to now experience what I call and I describe as gratitude, much of it relates, of course, to health. I pray, like, healthy. I'm so happy that God has given me health today. But the other big piece is I am so grateful for these kids and what they give me. And there's some dads, and I always recognize this when I talk, and moms too. There's a maternal thing. I know dudes, you've heard of it. Like you see it actually. Guys who leave their their kid. Like, I don't understand that.
I couldn't connect more with what you're saying because it's so true when it comes to kids.
Good. Here's what I would push back on only saying I understand because they were not cut a certain way.
Okay.
And or they maybe didn't experience it, their own there's so many layers to that, right? Of why. Mothers too. I know mothers who don't show up, who don't show up. And all that I would say is I know for myself, God provided me that cloth that's cut right here. My daughter, if she does something, I could cry. I could cry right now talking about it. You understand what I mean? So there's my answer for you.
I'm so with you when it comes to kids and everything you were just saying there. Is there anything else you want to leave our audience with?
No, dude. I'm glad that you're doing well. You know what, Gear? You got to give me 30 seconds.
Take your time. Take your time.
I knew Learn It in 2007 because that's what you were doing. But that's what you still do, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, got it.
It's a little different now than it was back then, but
I
yes.
believe it.
But I've been here 30 years and I love it because I love my team and the people I have. And my way of helping people maybe is not through nutrition, but it's giving them the skills that they can upskill and become more confident in personal and professional
No,
career.
I love when I see somebody has a resume where they've been there. And so I'll flip that on you. I love it. I call it loyal, especially those they don't people always think like I'm always talking about like founders stuff. No, I'm talking about the guy or gal who's at like Pepsi for 25 years. Let me tell you how amazing that person is. I'm serious. And people don't even realize they think like that person made money, they got stock, they always take care, they retire beautifully. Like it's okay. There's 90 ways to cut it, folks. There's 90 ways to do life. This is like one anyway.
No, I appreciate it, and it was an honor to me to have you on our show. Because I see you around LinkedIn and bouncing in every once in a while, run into you. But you've accomplished so much, and you've done some great things. And I know, hey, success comes and goes, and we've all had our bumpy roads, and hopefully you and I can get together one of these days and we can tell some more of these stories.
We will, dude. Like we'll figure this out Marin style.
Well, it's the Marin style. All right. Hey, so Mark, we talked about everything from, physical and mental well-being to becoming an entrepreneur and the importance of personal branding. And of course, loving our kids and how grateful we should be and realize that we should be for everything we have. So where can we talked about a little bit, but where can our listeners connect with you at?
I go to LinkedIn.
Go to LinkedIn. Mark Samuel with Noah S at the end. You got to connect with him. He puts out content every day. You'll enjoy following him, get a lot out of it. So, Mark, thank you. And for our listeners out there, do me a favor. Send this episode to somebody that maybe needs to get off the couch and start taking better care of themselves, or leaders who are super stressed out, or maybe somebody who even needs to appreciate their wife and their kids a little bit more. And follow Mark. And until next time, everybody, stay curious, keep learning, and have a great day. See ya.
And so if you shift away to just a different way to explain the world, a different metaphor, what I love about the systems metaphor is you don't ever stop or start with properties or characteristics.